William sat in his truck outside the VA hospital for 20 minutes before he could make himself walk in. 73 years old, 3 tours in Vietnam, a chest full of medals, and here he was, unable to face a simple doctor's appointment. Not because of pain, not because of illness, but because of something he couldn't even say out loud to his own reflection. For 6 months now, his body had been betraying him in the most intimate way possible. The strength that once defined him, not just physical, but that deep, primal confidence every man carries, had quietly slipped away. His wife, Sarah, never said anything, bless her heart, but he saw it in her eyes. That mixture of understanding and loss. They'd been married 47 years, and suddenly, he felt like half the man she'd fallen in love with. The morning it first happened still haunted him. They'd been celebrating their anniversary, candles lit, her favorite music playing softly. Everything was perfect until it wasn't. His body simply refused to respond. Sarah kissed his forehead gently, told him it was okay, that these things happen. But William knew better. He'd seen that flicker of disappointment, quickly hidden but unmistakable. Since then, each attempt had ended the same way. Failure, frustration, and a deepening sense that something essential was slipping away forever. "Mr. Henderson?" The nurse's voice pulled him from his thoughts. "Dr. Bennett will see you now." Dr. Charles Bennett wasn't what William expected. No judgment in his eyes, no awkward small talk. Just a man who'd clearly had this conversation thousands of times before. At 68 himself, Bennett specialized in something most doctors overlooked: sexual health in aging men. Not because it was profitable or glamorous, but because he understood what nobody talked about, that losing this part of yourself felt like losing your very identity. The office walls held diplomas from Harvard Medical School, certifications from the American Urological Association, but what caught William's attention were the handwritten thank you notes pinned to a bulletin board. Dozens of them, from men whose names he'd never know, but whose gratitude was palpable even through their careful penmanship. "William," Dr. Bennett began, settling into his chair with the ease of someone who knew exactly how hard this moment was. "Before we discuss anything medical, I want you to understand something. What you're experiencing affects nearly 70% of men over 70. You're not broken. You're not less of a man. Your body is sending signals that we need to decode, and I'm here to help you understand them." The statistics were staggering. By age 60, 40% of men experience moderate to severe erectile dysfunction. By 70, it jumps to 67%. By 80, it's nearly universal. Yet, less than 25% ever seek help. They suffer in silence, convinced it's just part of getting old, that nothing can be done, or worse, that they should be ashamed. "The tragedy isn't the condition itself," Dr. Bennett explained, his voice carrying the weight of having seen too many men wait too long. "The tragedy is that most men suffer needlessly. They assume this is their new normal, that their intimate life is over. They pull away from their partners, sink into depression, lose their sense of purpose. All because nobody ever told them that this is treatable, reversible, and in many cases, completely preventable." "Let me tell you about another patient," Dr. Bennett continued, his voice steady and warm. "Robert was a firefighter, retired after 35 years, came to me at 71, hadn't been intimate with his wife in over a year. He thought his life was essentially over in that department. He'd even started sleeping in a separate bedroom, convinced he was protecting his wife from disappointment. 6 weeks later, after understanding what was actually happening in his body and making some specific changes, he called me. His voice was different, lighter. He said, "Doc, I feel like I got myself back. 3 months later, his wife sent me a card. All it said was, "Thank you for returning my husband to me." The truth is, erectile dysfunction in older men is rarely just one thing. It's a complex symphony of factors. Blood flow naturally decreases with age, testosterone drops about 1% per year after 40, nerve sensitivity changes, and psychological factors compound everything. But here's what most men don't realize. It's also one of the earliest warning signs of cardiovascular problems. The blood vessels in the penis are smaller than those in the heart. They show distress first. In a way, erectile dysfunction can be your body's early alarm system, potentially saving your life if you listen. Think of it like this. Dr. Bennett used an analogy that resonated with William's mechanical background. Your body is like a precision engine. The smallest fuel lines show blockage first. If your check engine light comes on, you don't ignore it. You investigate. Erectile dysfunction is your body's check engine light. It's telling you something needs attention, and the sooner you address it, the better the outcome. The penis requires about 6 times more blood flow to achieve an erection than it does in its resting state, Dr. Bennett explained, using a simple diagram. As our arteries naturally stiffen with age, a process called arteriosclerosis, that flow becomes restricted. Add in common conditions like diabetes, which affects blood vessel health, or medications for blood pressure that can reduce flow even further, and you begin to understand why this happens. The average 70-year-old man has 50% less blood flow efficiency than he did at 30. But here's the key. That number isn't set in stone. With the right interventions, we can improve it dramatically. Dr. Bennett pulled out a chart showing the vascular system. See these tiny vessels? They're called arterioles. In young men, they're flexible, responsive, able to dilate quickly. As we age, they lose elasticity. But studies from the Cleveland Clinic show that specific dietary compounds can restore up to 40% of that flexibility within 3 months. We're not talking about exotic supplements or dangerous drugs. We're talking about compounds found in everyday foods that most men simply aren't eating enough of. But understanding was just the beginning. What Dr. Bennett said next changed everything for William, just as it had for hundreds of men before him. Most doctors will throw a pill at you and send you on your way, Dr. Bennett said, leaning forward slightly. But I want to talk about something different, something that might surprise you. The real solutions often have nothing to do with medication. He pulled out a chart showing hormone levels across different ages. Testosterone gets all the attention, but there's another player most people ignore. DHEA, dehydroepiandrosterone. By the time you're 70, your body produces only about 20% of the DHEA it did at 25. This hormone is crucial for maintaining not just sexual function, but energy, mood, and even your sense of purpose. It's literally called the youth hormone in medical literature, and for good reason. William listened intently as Dr. Bennett explained how modern life accelerates this decline. Chronic stress floods the body with cortisol, which directly suppresses both testosterone and DHEA production. Poor sleep, which affects nearly half of all seniors, disrupts the body's natural hormone regeneration that occurs during deep sleep phases. Even seemingly unrelated factors like loneliness and depression create biochemical changes that impact erectile function. Here's something that will shock you, Dr. Bennett continued. A study from the University of Chicago found that men who sleep less than 5 hours a night have testosterone levels of someone 15 years older. Think about that. Poor sleep literally ages your hormones overnight. And it's not just quantity, it's quality. The deep, restorative sleep that produces hormones happens less frequently as we age, unless we actively work to protect it. I had a patient, Thomas, 74 years old, retired teacher. Dr. Bennett shared. Lost his wife 2 years prior. Came to me for ED, but we discovered his real issue was profound loneliness. His cortisol was through the roof. Testosterone bottomed out. We addressed the isolation first, got him into a men's breakfast group at his church, encouraged him to reconnect with his grandkids, even suggested he adopt a dog. 3 months later, without a single medication, his function improved by 60%. His testosterone levels increased by 30%, all because we addressed the root cause, not just the symptom. The doctor then revealed something that shocked William. Your gut health directly impacts your erectile function. Sounds crazy, right? But your gut produces nitric oxide, the molecule that relaxes blood vessels and allows erections to happen. If your gut bacteria is imbalanced, which happens to most of us as we age, your nitric oxide production plummets. We call it the gut-penis axis, and it's one of the most overlooked aspects of male sexual health. This wasn't just theory. Studies from Johns Hopkins and the Mayo Clinic confirmed that men with healthier gut microbiomes had significantly better erectile function, regardless of age. Simple dietary changes, adding fermented foods like sauerkraut and kefir, reducing processed sugars, increasing fiber from vegetables, could create measurable improvements in just weeks. Let me share a case that really opened my eyes, Dr. Bennett said. Eugene, 69 years old, came to me after trying every ED medication on the market with minimal success. We tested his gut bacteria and found severe dysbiosis. Basically, his gut was a mess. We put him on a protocol: prebiotics from Jerusalem artichokes and garlic, probiotics from fermented foods, and eliminated artificial sweeteners completely. 6 weeks later, not only did his erectile function improve dramatically, but his energy levels, mental clarity, and even his joint pain got better. His wife told me he seemed 10 years younger. But here's what really frustrates me. Dr. Bennett's tone grew more serious. Nobody talks about the medication factor. The average man over 65 takes 4 or more prescription drugs daily. Blood pressure medications, statins for cholesterol, antidepressants, prostate medications. Every single one can impact erectile function. Not because they're bad drugs, but because nobody explains the connections or offers solutions. He showed William a list. Beta blockers could reduce blood flow by up to 30%. Certain antidepressants decreased sensation and desire. Even common over-the-counter antihistamines could contribute to problems. Proton pump inhibitors for acid reflux could lower testosterone production. The key wasn't necessarily stopping these medications. Many were life-saving, but understanding their impact and finding ways to counteract it. I had a patient on 5 different medications, Dr. Bennett recalled. His doctor kept adding more drugs to deal with side effects from other drugs. We worked with his physician to streamline his medications, switched him to alternatives with fewer sexual side effects, and added specific supplements to counteract the remaining issues. Within 2 months, his function returned to levels he hadn't experienced in a decade. Let me share something personal, Dr. Bennett said, his professional mask softening slightly. I'm 68. 5 years ago, I started experiencing what you're going through. I knew all the science, had all the knowledge, but it still hit me like a truck. That feeling of losing a fundamental part of who you are. The fear that my wife would think less of me, that I was becoming irrelevant. I treated myself like I treat my patients, comprehensively, patiently, with respect for the whole person, not just the symptom. Today, my sex life is better than it was at 50. I'm not saying that to boast, but to give you hope. This isn't about becoming 20 again. It's about being the best version of yourself right now. The conversation shifted to something unexpected. Breathing. Most men over 60 breathe shallowly, using only the top third of their lungs, Dr. Bennett demonstrated. This reduces oxygen in the blood, which directly impacts erectile function. Something as simple as 5 minutes of deep diaphragmatic breathing before bed can improve blood oxygen levels by 15%. I've had patients see improvements just from breathing exercises alone. There's a specific technique called 4-7-8 breathing. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 7, exhale for 8. Do this 3 times before intimacy. It activates your parasympathetic nervous system, reduces performance anxiety, and improves blood flow. Then came the exercise component, but not what William expected. Forget heavy weightlifting or marathon running. For men our age, the magic is in specific pelvic floor exercises, not just Kegels, but a comprehensive routine that strengthens the entire region. Combined with walking, just 20 minutes daily, and you're improving blood flow, reducing inflammation, and boosting natural hormone production. There's a Harvard study showing that men who walk briskly for just 30 minutes a day reduce their ED risk by 41%. Walking is medicine, William. Free, accessible, and incredibly powerful. William, I want to be very clear about something, Dr. Bennett said, his tone shifting to one of quiet urgency. What you do in the next few weeks will determine not just your sexual health, but your overall vitality for the next decade. This isn't about chasing youth. It's about honoring the man you still are, the relationship you've built, and the life you still have ahead of you. He laid out a protocol that was surprisingly simple, yet comprehensive. First, circulation. 1 Brazil nut daily for selenium, which supports testosterone production. A handful of raw pumpkin seeds for zinc, critical for prostate health and hormone balance. Beet juice or beets 3 times a week for natural nitric oxide. Dark chocolate, specifically 85% cacao or higher, for flavonoids that improve blood vessel flexibility. Watermelon, rich in citrulline, which converts to arginine and boosts nitric oxide naturally. Pomegranate juice, which studies show can improve erectile function by up to 47% when consumed daily for 3 months. But food is just the foundation, Dr. Bennett continued. Sleep is where the magic happens. Between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., your body produces most of its testosterone and growth hormone. Miss that window consistently, and you're sabotaging your own recovery. I tell my patients, protect your sleep like your life depends on it, because in many ways, it does. No screens an hour before bed. Keep your bedroom cool, around 67 degrees. Consider magnesium glycinate, 400 milligrams before bed. It improves sleep quality and supports testosterone production. He then addressed the elephant in the room. Psychological factors. Performance anxiety creates a vicious cycle. One failed attempt leads to fear, which triggers stress hormones, which makes the next attempt even harder. I've seen Special Forces veterans, men who've faced death without flinching, brought to their knees by this cycle. The solution isn't to push through it. It's to step back, remove the pressure, rebuild slowly. Remember, intimacy isn't just about erections. It's about connection, touch, presence. Many couples find their relationships actually deepen when they expand their definition of intimacy. Dr. Bennett introduced a concept he called sensate focus, intimate connection without the pressure of performance. Spend time with your partner just touching, being present, no goals, no expectations. Rebuild that neural pathway of pleasure without pressure. Start with non-sexual touch for 2 weeks. Just holding hands, back rubs, gentle caressing. Then gradually increase intimacy, but only when both partners feel ready. It's not just therapeutic. it's transformative. I've seen couples married 50 years say they discovered each other all over again through this process. The doctor pulled out another chart, this one showing recovery timelines. Here's what you can realistically expect. Week 1 to 2. Improved energy from better sleep and breathing. You will notice morning erections returning. That's your body's way of saying systems are coming back online. Week 3 to 4. Noticeable improvements in spontaneous arousal and sensation. Week 6 to 8. Significant improvement in function, provided you're consistent. By week 12, most men report feeling not just functional, but genuinely revitalized. Some men take longer, some see results faster. The key is consistency and patience. I want to tell you about Harold, Dr. Bennett shared, pulling out a letter. 78 years old, diabetic, on 3 blood pressure medications. Came to me convinced his intimate life was over. His exact words were, "Doc, I'm just here so I can tell my wife I tried everything." This letter is from 6 months later. He writes, "Dr. Bennett, my wife and I just celebrated our 55th anniversary. For the first time in 5 years, we celebrated it completely, if you know what I mean. But more than that, we talk more, laugh more, touch more. I'm not the man I was at 30, but I'm the best version of the man I am at 78. You didn't just help my ED, you helped me remember who I am." The protocol included unexpected elements: cold showers, just 30 seconds of cold water at the end of a regular shower, to boost circulation and trigger beneficial stress hormones. Sunlight exposure, particularly in the morning, to regulate circadian rhythms and support vitamin D production, crucial for testosterone. Even social connection played a role. Men in regular social groups had testosterone levels 15% higher than isolated peers. Join something, Dr. Bennett urged. A bowling league, a breakfast club, a volunteer group. Connection isn't just good for your soul, it's medicine for your body. There's one more thing we need to discuss, Dr. Bennett said, pulling out a final chart. Supplements. Now, I'm not talking about those gas station pills or internet miracles. I'm talking about evidence-based supplements that actually work. Vitamin D3, 5,000 IUs daily if you're deficient, which most men over 60 are. Omega-3 fatty acids, 2 grams daily for vascular health. L-arginine, 3 grams daily, preferably on an empty stomach. It's a precursor to nitric oxide. Ashwagandha, 600 milligrams daily for stress and hormone balance. These aren't magic bullets, but combined with lifestyle changes, they accelerate recovery significantly. But here's the most important thing. Dr. Bennett stood, signaling the session was coming to an end. This isn't about becoming someone you're not. It's about reclaiming who you are. Every man deserves to feel whole, regardless of age. Every man deserves to maintain that connection with his partner, that confidence in his own body, that sense of being fully alive. Your age is not a disease. Your worth isn't measured by your erections, but your quality of life, your relationship, your sense of self. Those things matter, and they're worth fighting for. He handed William a detailed plan, not just medical recommendations but a roadmap to revitalization. 20 pages of specific instructions, meal plans, exercise routines, supplement schedules, even conversation starters for talking with Sarah about this journey. Start with one thing, just one. Maybe it's the breathing exercises. Maybe it's the morning walk. Build from there. Your body has been carrying you for over 7 decades. It hasn't given up on you. Don't give up on it. As William left the office, something had shifted. Not just hope, though that was there, but understanding. For months, he'd felt like he was losing himself piece by piece. Now he understood he wasn't losing anything. He was transforming, and with the right knowledge and tools, that transformation could be powerful rather than diminishing. 3 months later, William returned for a follow-up. The change was remarkable. Not just physical, though his function had improved dramatically, but in his entire presence. He stood taller, smiled easier, spoke with the quiet confidence of a man who'd reclaimed something precious. "Doc," he said, shaking Dr. Bennett's hand firmly, "Sarah wanted me to thank you. Said she got her husband back. But honestly, I think I got more than that. I got myself back, but better. Wiser, more grateful. Still learning, still growing. Even at 73. Dr. Bennett smiled, knowing this was why he did this work. "William, you just proved what I tell every patient. It's never too late to advocate for your health, your vitality, your wholeness. The autumn of life doesn't have to be about decline. It can be about depth, wisdom, and yes, continued passion. If you're watching this and recognize yourself in William's story, know this: you're not alone, you're not broken, and it's not too late. Your body is speaking to you. Listen with compassion, respond with action, and give yourself permission to seek help. Real strength isn't pretending everything's fine. It's having the courage to reclaim your vitality. Start today. Take one small step. Your future self will thank you. And remember, every man deserves to feel whole, powerful, and fully alive, no matter what the calendar says. Like this video, if it resonated with you. Comment with strength if you're ready to reclaim your vitality. And subscribe for more honest conversations about men's health after 60. Because your best chapter might just be the one you're about to write.